Welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is Laura Haver. You can find her at laurahaver.com. She's a play advocate, author, speaker, and a life coach, and we're going to talk about being a playful parent and an author mom, what that means for her life and her career, and how it can help you find more fun, flow, and fulfillment in your life and career. If you're looking for a little more play in your life, go to playfulhumans.com. We've got a playfulness quiz. You can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you're listening to it right now, or go to the YouTube channel. You can join the conversation. You can type live in the comments if you watch us on YouTube live. So go check it out there. Here we go. Laura, I feel like people always make fun of my hands when I do talks on keynote speeches. I always go very straight with the hands. I don't know why when I get excited, I go big hands, but that's a little tip for you.
I love it. I love embrace what yourness, just go for it. If that's your thing.
All right. We like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week this week is brought to you by bamboo. Did you know bamboo is the scariest plant? Bamboo. There we go. Okay.
Love
What's
that
the difference between a man wearing pajamas on a bicycle and a guy wearing a tuxedo on a unicycle?
Okay, a man wearing pajamas on a bicycle, and a man wearing a tuxedo on a which one?
Unicycle.
Ooh, I don't know. You gotta tell me what this one is.
A tire.
So good.
There you go. It works two ways on that one. I love those kind of jokes. Do you have any jokes for us?
Would you like to hear two jokes and a long joke?
Yes.
Joke.
All right, that'll get us started in a playful mood.
Shout out to my friend Penny, the jokester.
That's one I feel like are good for any ages. And that brings us to your latest book, which is Play Together. And you have 60 different games that you can play for ages, 3 all the way up to 12, but really fun for the whole family here. And how we boost creativity, connection, and mindfulness through play, which is really what I'm trying to help adults do here on this show. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it. But how did you get to this book? Tell us the story.
Yeah, so for this book, I was actually writing a different parenting book. And then when the pandemic hit, suddenly the kids were home from school, everything was shut down. And I just really felt for these poor families that were stuck at home. And it's like, what could I do to serve these people, to serve people and to make the best of this crazy situation. And so my boys that are now 11 at the time, this was 3 years ago, that we woke up every day and we would make a new game each day. And we would post them to our media. We called it We Write the Story Challenge. No matter what's going on, we get to say how it goes. And so we were creating these games. And it turned into this book. So it's very, very exciting. I'm just excited to share all these games that, people loved playing along the way.
Yeah, I feel like the same for me. I'm working on a book for Playful Humans myself with 52 different games. I decided to go for one a week and all kinds of different games because people like to play in different ways and challenges. And this whole show and concept has been a little bit of a COVID baby for me too. So I can definitely relate to that. I want to ask you about being a parent specifically, since I'm not. What do you feel like the benefits of play are for kids and then for the adults who are sometimes forced to play with the kids?
They're like because I'm a research nerd. I'm going to say that from the beginning. I'm a research nerd. So I try not to go into all the research because in my experience, I like the research, but not everyone does. More people are great. Tell me what I can get out of it and I can go. So that's what I like to do in the book is just like games or the majority of the games by science research. Like these are the cool things that happen. But and how can you use them, right? So I think what happens is people underestimate the importance of play for their family and for themselves, especially as adults. The benefits are so big, mindset, mental health, physical health. There's the increased innovation and creativity. There's better relationships. The research goes on and on and on. And that's why I love going podcasts and getting to meet people in real life and share this, because I think it's so to think, well, I'll get to. I find people are. I'd be curious what you find, Mike. But people are either like, oh, I'll totally play if I could just get time for that, and then is he doing like, or they're like, play? Are you kidding me? The last thing on the list. When in effect, when you're jazzed, when you're excited, you have that energy, it overflows and goes into the other, it's making all the other areas go smoothly. So I would love to hear based on your experience.
So I relate to that a lot, really, even the research side of that. There's been a lot of research that shows that if you take play breaks, you become more productive and you actually have more time and you solve problems faster and other kinds of things that give you more creative ideas and innovation that get you to results faster. And so it's crazy to think, but sometimes if you take a 30-minute lunch and a 30-minute play break, when you come back from recess, just like kids in school, you can focus after recess. You've got all that energy out. You let the stress go, your body and mind reset, and all kinds of good things happen. And so I kind of think it's like that old line about meditation that, if you don't have time to meditate 20 minutes a day, you need to meditate an hour a day. And I feel like the same thing is for play. Like if you don't really have time for it, that means you need it more than ever. And I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff too by like Dr. Stuart Brown and others where play deprivation, especially for kids, is really dangerous. But I find it even dangerous. Adults. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about that specifically for kids?
I love that you brought up meditation, because that's my because in addition to play, I also study well-being and community and happiness research. And we think that all these certain make us happy or make us fulfilled. All the research shows it just doesn't. We have these miswantings, these things. Oh, if I have this, I have that, then I've got it. But they're wrong. And so when you can look at that, and then you can these small habits, these little things you can do, and I love to share this book because I have fun ways to teach people these skills that you don't feel like you're learning, right? Because as a parent, you don't want to be like, okay, kids, we're going to sit down and meditate. Maybe you do. And if you do, great. I love it. But it's like making it fun. Because one of the things of play is that it's, you will. You're not doing it doing it for the pure joy of it. Definition of play. I made my own definition. It's play is an invitation to do something for yourself for the joy of it.
Yeah.
And as parents, we're always going and doing stuff and then we're taking care of our kids and everyone can relate whether parent or not, and so taking that time makes a difference. And mindfulness plus play is like the two super. If you can mindful, you can practice your meditation. That's why it's so fun. I have a whole section of games about mindfulness. I just learned these tools later in my life. If I'm teaching them to my now, like my kids know what emulation is. Like I would have been like blah 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 as a kid.
Yeah, I can completely relate. And I think there's another big part of the discussion here that every parent knows, which is you're role modeling for your kids. So if you don't have time to play, what does that show your kids about what being an adult is? And do you think they'll, have the awareness to be like, oh, I need to be less stressed than mom and dad were, and I need to find space in my life for play? If you're not setting that example, I think a lot of these things are cultural that we pass down, that you have to hustle on the work culture and grind, and none of it's really true in my experience. The people that play, that can be more authentic and be themselves and can create more just, I guess, space is the best word in their life for things outside of work, they tend to be the happiest and the healthiest, and then they tend to be more successful at work because of it. So what would you say
it's the opposite direction
for parents about role modeling the play and how to play safely and healthily?
Role modeling is the biggest Think you nailed it. Because it's what you say, what they see you. So if I could be the parent when like, okay, like not every parent is going to be silly. More of like the silly, like I'll dance around and bring in stuff at like when I'm cooking dinner. And everybody has their own play style. We know this. You can go on Playful Human, get your play quiz, you can find your play style, right? Like everyone has their own take and can show our kids or our friend or other family members like we value this and be that example. Other people are going to be attracted to us because we're excited about life, like we jazzed up. It's not saying our life is perfect. We go through things like everybody else, but we extra juice. So when we can take that time to play with our kin, to work on our own mindfulness practice, they'd be like, oh, and they notice they're so can't believe how smart kids are. They notice if you're a happy going person, or if you're just like a robot. Just they notice, they see other adults, they see teachers, they see people in their greater. And so they're always learning, and that's what I love about childhood, and to bring that joy of learning into adult. And that's why it's so fun being a parent if you've lost your joy of play, because you can use kids to connect. Like I saw in your studio, you've got all like Nintendo, like all these Lego creations, all these things, and like you can get back. And so if you want to reconnect with your joy, use your children. And if you don't have children that you would love to do as a kid, and how adjust to that now.
I definitely relate to that a lot. You mentioned the Lego. I've kind of, gotten some cues from my wife to stop buying Legos for our house, but I can buy them for birthday presents for the nieces and nephews as much as I want. And there's no backlash there, which is fun. And of course I get to help them build it. Most of them are too small, which is my trick too, just buy a 2 or 3 year old a Lego, and then you have to put it together for them so they can play with it once it's built. But the other thing that came to mind for me is we just had a pool party for adults here a couple of weeks ago with my sister and some friends that play volleyball and stuff, and they brought some kids over. But we went and asked the neighbors. We just knocked on their door and said, hey, we're going to have a pool party and barbecue. Do you want to come over? And my two nieces wanted to watch, and they just wanted to come with me and knock on the door, and kind of like they were too scared to say anything. But I thought, like, this is an awesome chance to just role model that it's not scary. These are nice people. We're going to do a nice thing and invite them over. And even if they don't come, you're going to see how to go invite somebody out to play. Right. Which I think just so many kids don't have an example of what it's like to go knock on a friend's door and ask them to come out and play anymore. Right.
It's all play dates and scheduled, and how do you create opportunities the kids learn themselves, especially when they're low, like, hey, do you want to come outside and play? Do you want to come to a party? And so it's just teaching. Love that you were bringing that, showing it, because again, going back to the research nerd here, the relationships, right? Like, the Harvard of well-being, it's been studying for generations, and number one finding that they have for living a healthy life is having good connect with other people. And so teaching our kids these abilities, and how to navate friendships. And sometimes there's going to be difficulties, especially now for parents. It's summer right now when doing this, and kids don't have a routine, and so there's all these little things where we approach it from play. It's just this opportunity to learn, but to learn in a more way, right? Hey, how do you do this? Teaching these skills. So I'm kind of, one of my favorite things is to teach through play.
Yeah, me too. And I think there's so many amazing lessons, that even just when you think about setting up a party like that, is including the kids in the setup and the cooking and the preparation, or going to the store and buying food for that. And then what it's like to clean up after it. And sometimes play involves a lot of work. If you're building a pillow fort, or, a tree house or something, there's a lot of work there, but can be fun at the same time. And it can be totally worth it. And I think it kind of shows people, and especially children, that there are times where we might have to rest after this too, and take a pause. And so maybe we're going to we're not going to have as much for lunch, or we're going to take a nap early so that we can be hungry for the food and we can have energy to play later and stuff. And teaching them lessons about balance and play and energy and stuff. There's so many things you can unpack just from a play experience.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. One, it reminds me of a couple of in the book. One of the games I got to collaborate cool people around the world in the book. And one of them I collaborated with Nor Skenazy. She is founder of the Foundation along with Dr. Peter Grant. So the game is the challenge where you actually let your kids do something on their own. Right. So it's like create attendance for kids. And so I challenge anyone they do an annual contest in August. So you can enter that contest as well. But it's great because not only do I want people to play together, we want kids to be able to learn these skills, right? And to be able to do their own and realize that they're capable of doing more. Not just like
so good. Again, the book is Play Together by Laura Haver. You can find it at laurahaver.com or anywhere you find books. That's a pretty good place to check it out too. But Laura, I wanted to then shift gears and talk about you and your career a little bit and how you create this playful career for yourself and being a writer. And I think I saw that you had like a author moms group or something too, where you're helping other people and creating a community around it. How did this come about for you? Was this something you do at the side? Are you were like a homemaker and you decided to write a book, or have you always had playful careers and been a writer? What was that journey like for you?
So many good questions. All right. Well, I guess I've like when I was play Maloney, that was my nickname. So I was playful. And I had careers. I was an athlete. I was a tennis where I really fell in love with teach play. And
Cool.
So I had that career. I was a mom, and I was still coaching tennis, and then I was a pro beach tennis athlete for a while, which was really amazing experience. And when this one huge event that was in San Diego, the Anac World Beach Games. I live in San Diego. Got moved overseas. And suddenly it was like, I guess I won't compete as much anymore. So at that point I had 2 kids. Kind of sad that was stopping, and I decided what else do I want to do, and I have this creative energy. That's when I started getting back into writing and coding. And so all the things just sort of developed organically in time. Like no any other authors, and so I wanted to create that community. That's where my author moms community grew out of. Over 2 years now that we meet once a month. So if anyone's listening, feel free to join us. It's super fun watching people that come in from like an idea stage, holding their book in hand and supporting each other. And I just sort of flowed through the natural course of play. Right. So it's pretty fun. Like listening to your podcast and hearing other people's stories and what their needs are.
Well, the sports side sounds awesome. That's really cool that you got to do that for so long. I'm wondering if you see any specific benefits around the fitness and physical play. I know not everybody is an athlete or competitive and stuff, but even just, running, jumping, staying physically active. What part of tennis, drew you to that sport, or have you really thought about it and dissected what was so fun and interesting about it for you?
I just love to parents playing again. It's like your parents modeling. I want to play. So I just asked them when 7 years old, hey mom and dad, can I play? And they said, okay. I just started playing and just kept going with it and up through it. And, it for fun. And I think that for kids play physical so important. And now when there's the draw with the with some screen time, like important learning skills, a lot of creativity, some decent research around that. It's just a matter of you also move your body. And the rough play research is super fascinating, especially because I have two boys. I grew up with the only sister. And wrestling, this stuff is so important. So I have to take time and expand myself and say, okay, I can let my boys do that. And I think a lot of parents are like hesitant, but that's how they learn how they learn other people's boundaries, like comfortable with their bodies. And so encouraging that wrestling don't have like a male figure that's with your kids, finding somebody else that could, or like I wrestle with my kids too. Maybe I can't be young as my husband can, in souls, but so much benefit to moving your body. And even today I was before this I was getting a workout, and I was like, okay, because if another great way of getting out your stress or getting any extra energy of your body and staying healthy. And so yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really interesting for me between kids and adults that we think, oh, of course, kids need to get outside and play, or they need to move their bodies, and they need to have a recess at school. It's important because if they don't, they're going to get distracted, and they have growing bodies and all this health stuff and things. Kids should get outside and play. And then we look at other adults, and you think, why? What age would that not be a good idea? We know senior citizens need to move their body, and it's use it or lose it when you're in your 80s and 90s. And so, you need to go outside, go for walks, move your body, stretch, bend, and keep muscle on. And I just think, well, if it's good for 8-year-olds and it's good for 80-year-olds, how about every other age in between? And we don't look at ourselves and say, man, I need to move my body every single day. Or even if I need to focus, that means I should probably like go for a run or bicycle ride or do some sort of physical play sport, and then sit down and focus, so I don't have all that energy. And like you said, I've released all of that stress too.
Yeah. And I always encourage people who look at it not as workout, but play, right? You can bring that fun into workout, into your exercise. Then you're going to want to do it naturally, right? So finding what activity, what way of moving your body feels best to you, right? And there's lots you can do for it. So like, let's say you want to do something solitary. Perhaps you listen to Playful Human, your favorite podcast, when you go for a run and use for that time, or perhaps love being with other people. So you organize a basketball game, or you want to beach tennis, so you go to the beach, and like finding what makes it that you want to keep doing it. Or maybe even finding a friend who wants you, and then instead of being like, well, I'll just do it tomorrow, it's like, oh, well, Judy's going to be meeting me there, so I have to go up.
Oh, I love that. I love scheduling play and just keeping it on your calendar as an adult, or joining leagues where you're like, okay, I know every Tuesday night is bowling league night, so I'm going to have to go. My team is expecting me to show up. It's such a good trap for people to get busy or stressed or always put it off for another day. That's a great tip. And then I wanted to ask you a little bit more about writing and the book. So what is it about the book process that is most fulfilling for you? I found a lot of people like to express themselves. The book is usually a lot of work. I've written a couple myself, and I found finishing the book is sort of the starting line. It's not the finish line that people think it is. Then you have to go start promoting it and sharing it with people, and you want other people to read it, and that's kind of the hard part. But what's most exciting for you, and why did you decide to pursue this path?
I think the most part is the act of creation. And I like that I can bring the activation to all stages of the book, right? Like when you said that about just starting, because in author and all the other writer communities, you think, oh, I wrote the book, like I just got it. So give me, but I just got the hard copies the other day. I'm like, is it like this is the. But then it's like, okay, well now, like you got to keep going with it. And so I like that I can bring the active creation into sharing the book. You write something that like is, to me, it's something that I just feel this call to share with people, right? And so I really want to get it out, the message, not for me, but for everyone else. Enjoy the power of play in your life. And it makes a difference more than you realize. And you can teach that to your kids and do it anyway. So
And you wrote a song too. So how was that process different than the book?
the song was so fun. So I always wanted to be a singer and a writer when I did. And remember, mentioned in one of your podcasts, like you love doing the morning announcements, and you love performing, and I like that stuff too, right? And so some you think, well, I'm not going to do that. That's not the. Once you start doing that again, the song was the most fun. Like now I listen to it, I get jazzed up. I remember being in the recording studio, or like playing around with the lyric. It's just these lists bring so much joy. That's why I encourage everyone listening, like being like, what's with you? What's whispering to you in your heart? Just even if you work on it a small amount, 5 minutes, like do something for yourself for no point, just for you every day.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great call to action and great place to wrap up on. And I'm glad that you reminded me of the morning announcements and stuff too, because I do think looking back that it's just like a cue for me that I've always enjoyed this type of thing, being on a microphone, entertaining other people, doing something silly to share my story and play with other people. And so I love it. Great place to wrap up. Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah.
Of course she is. All right, here we go. We're going to do a little survey says. Survey says is we asked 100 people a question. Your job is to guess one of the top 5 answers on the card. We have 3 questions for you here. You get 2 out of 3. You win. Okay. Laura, tell me the most used electrical item in the kitchen. What is the most used electrical item in the kitchen?
In the kitchen. The toaster. Oh, the coffee maker. It's the coffee.
Ooh, you got 2 and 3, but the number 1 answer is microwave. Microwave. I'm not sure that's true anymore, but these are pretty recent surveys. 2019. Okay. Also on the list was refrigerator and stove. But
gotcha. See, I don't think about those as being plain. Obviously are, but they're like hidden, right? Can everyone agree with me on listening?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the tabletop is the electrical device. Where might a school bus take a student besides school?
A field trip.
Field trips, number 1 answer. Sporting event, number 2. Home, that's pretty obvious. And museum on there, museum or zoo. Okay, I think you've already won, but you got one more shot at it here. Name a public place where you see parents disciplining their children.
The amusement park.
Oh, that's a good one for sure. That comes in at number 2.
I gotta get
sports field, playground, school, restaurant, but the number 1 answer was the store or the mall.
Yeah, that's what I said. The store. As soon as I said it, every time. Oh my gosh. Yep.
All right, congratulations that you win. That means you get a free 30-second commercial here for whatever you have going on in your life. So do you have any way that we can help you or you can help us?
Well, I've got for anyone who's looking to add more life, I have a free playlist planner that anyone can check out. It just helps you to, if you're kind of like, oh, it's fun for me anymore. And if I don't know how to make it happen, so anyone's welcome, free gift on my website. Got that. And, just encouraging anyone to like all those little whispers in their heart and like start to show up as yourself and the things that make you, because that's what everyone wants to hang out with. They want to hang out with like you're you fully showing up.
I love it. Laura Haver is our guest. LauraHaver.com is the website. Go check out the new book, Play Together, 60 games you can play together with your children and have some good old-fashioned family fun time. And if you're looking to have more adult play, but not that kind of adult play, play with adults, go to playfulhumans.com. We're helping adults rediscover the power of play, find more fun, flow, and fulfillment in their life and career. There's a playfulness quiz. There's a burnout quiz. You can see how toasty you are at the moment. Are you medium rare or are you well done? Find out at playfulhumans.com. Here we go. Have a good one.